Join, ma'am. Ma'am, just unmute yourself, please. Our guest is joining. Just give me a minute. Nitin sir.
In a minute, ma'am is joining. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, ma'am, and everyone.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here very
Good
much.
morning, ma'am.
Good morning,
Welcome and good morning, ma'am.
Nitin sir.
Ma'am has joined. Yes. Elanjana, ma'am.
Good
Sir,
morning,
has
ma'am.
ma'am joined?
Good morning, everyone.
Yeah, I can see you. Yeah. So shall we start?
Yes.
Ma'am, I have made you the host, ma'am. Please make me a
Yes.
co-host,
Yes.
ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, please make me a co-host.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah.
Done. Done.
Am I audible to you?
Shall we begin, Nitin?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am will introduce. Elanjana, ma'am. Thank you. Elanjana, ma'am, am I audible to you?
Sir, I cannot hear your voice.
Am I audible now?
Yes, you're audible now. Yeah. So ma'am has joined, I guess.
So, ma'am, kindly start the session, ma'am.
Yeah. Okay, we can start.
Yes,
the
ma'am.
session. Okay.
She has joined. Kindly start the session. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am.
Just a second. Shalini ma'am, are we ready?
Yes, Nilanjana.
Okay,
Go
ma'am.
ahead, please.
Okay, ma'am. I request everyone else to kindly mute themselves. Okay. Good morning and Jai Hind, everyone. Today I take the privilege to welcome amidst us Professor J. Saldanha. She has been a faculty of IBS Gurgaon and has 17 years of industry experience in FMCG, petroleum, IT and ITES. She has worked with Britannia Industries, Hindustan Petroleum, HCL Technologies, and she has her experience in marketing, industry relation, manpower planning, and training. With around 10 years of PGPM teaching experience, she has delivered corporate training to various organizations on a wide range of managerial subjects. She is certified as an ATD Master Trainer from Dallas, USA 2015. In February 2016, she was the national winner of the first prize at CII Western Region's Edge Farm HR Case Study Writing Competition in Mumbai. She has a bachelor's degree in commerce, diploma in personal management, and holds a master's in HR. She supports children with cancer through CanKids, and she has taught at a government school in Gurgaon as part of HCL Tech's CSR. She is very keen on saving the environment and has led a waste management project in Gurgaon. So today, she is amidst us to give us a brief on knowing yourself, employability skill, group discussion, and personal interview. With this, I would request our Assistant Administrator, ma'am, Dr. Shalini Singh, to kindly welcome.
Jai Hind, everyone. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome amongst us Professor J. Saldanha. Thank you so much, ma'am, for taking out time from your busy schedule and taking such a relevant topic, because these days my students, they are attending their online classes and really they don't know that what they will do in future. Talking about their exams, they are confused. Talking about their career options. So speaking on employability skill, knowing yourself, GD and PI, definitely these topics will help my students to grow more. So looking forward for a wonderful session, ma'am. Again, once again, on behalf of college, I thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you,
My
ma'am.
pleasure. Thank you.
And I also take the privilege to welcome amidst us Mr. Tanuj Jaitley, who is the Regional Manager of ICFI Business School with more than 15 years of experience in education and other sectors. Thank you, sir, for joining us. And thank you, ma'am. So the session is all yours. You can start with it.
Good morning, all. Morning, ma'am.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning, Tanuj.
Morning, sir, and everyone.
Morning.
Shall we begin, Dr. Shalini?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
All yours now.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so a warm welcome to all of you to what is a very, very relevant topic for people in your age group, for people who aspire for a good career, right? All of you want a successful career? Go to the reactions box and put a thumbs up if the answer is yes.
I request everyone to kindly mute themselves.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, so I can see lots and lots of thumbs up. The answer is obviously yes. Everybody wants something good for themselves, something to grow. So we have 1 hour, so it is just packed with lots of information. So we'll try and take some questions and discuss. But I would like to do a lot of sharing and focusing on the importance of you and your career. Okay, so first, before we move further, let's think of some of the skills. So put in the chat box some of the key skills which you think are very important, not for a career, but for a successful career. So just put some single words in the chat box. Yes.
Everyone, kindly put your answers.
Yeah. So there's a large group. So
Yeah.
yes, communication skills. Okay, good. Leadership, determination, soft skills. Very good, Shruti. Yes, leadership. Okay. Hard work, good personality. Okay. Confidence, honesty, taking initiative, managerial skills, positive attitude, wonderful answers. Okay, so now stop answering because we have limited time. So very good answers came out, but there is something called hard skill, which is not a term normally used. We refer to it as technical skill. What are soft skills? Yes, soft skills are different from hard skills. So Sanya, can you please unmute yourself and answer this question? How are soft skills different from hard skills? Yes, Sanya, you raised your hand. Sanya Singh.
Sanya?
Okay. Okay, doesn't matter. Can anyone else raise a hand and answer this question? How are soft skills different from hard skills?
Ma'am, soft skills are like communication skills, and hard skills is like training or something which you do physically.
Okay. Apurva Singh, can you add to that answer?
Ma'am, Apurva Singh there. Ma'am, hard skills are related to specific technical knowledge and training, while
Right.
soft skills are personality traits like
Correct.
leadership and communication and time management, etc.
Excellent, excellent. And interestingly, in the chat box, in answer to my previous question, all the answers were all soft skills. So isn't that an interesting perspective, right? So we need to focus on what are the skills we need for a good career. So we need to categorize them. So what are soft skills? There is a whole range of soft skills which are very critical. Yes, Sadaf, could you kindly mute? Yeah, thank you. So what are soft skills? They're critically different from hard skills, but both are intrinsic to a successful career. So you will see that certain traits like being on time, knowing how to dress appropriately, knowing how to conduct yourself in a social setting, at a business dinner. Now today the handshake is a bad word. Nobody wants to shake hands, right? But up till just a few months back, how you shook hands, the strength, the energy, the angle, everything was very important. Now today, of course, we're creating new skills which will become more important in the absence of certain traditional soft skills. But these are all basically behavioral skills which support and help your career. So why do we need the soft skills? Because we need people in organizations. You can have the best machinery, you can have the best IT systems, you can have the best processes in place, the technical processes, but all that technology will not run an organization. Finally, you need people. And people come with their technical skills, but very importantly, it is the soft skills which help to run the organization. So let me give you a simple example. A project manager in an IT company has a team of 25 people. They are in his team because they are all technically qualified. They have gone through various screening processes. They are competent in their jobs. But out of 25, 2 guys are lazy guys. 3 guys are always late. 3 guys can never write anything properly. So the documents they make are never all right. Another 2 have a bad habit of always delaying the work. They procrastinate. When they do it well, but otherwise they procrastinate. 1 or 2 of them have a gossipy habit. They try to create, negativity among others. So now if about 10 or 12 people have these various habits, so your project manager, though he has a very highly qualified team, a very competent team, he's definitely not going to get results the way he could have if all these habits had not been there. So the soft skills are very critical in supporting our outcomes and supporting the success of a team. So when you look at your career, you look at one very important thing, and that is employability. How employable am I as an individual? So look at it now from the perspective of the organization. Essentially, we can categorize it into these 3 boxes or 3 compartments. 1, do you have the ability? Do you have, Ayush Singh, kindly mute? Do you have the ability to do the job? So this is where your subject knowledge comes in. So somebody who has done BCom, but cannot for the life of him or her balance the balance sheet, does not have the job ability fit, right? So the basic knowledge of your subject, the basic ability to apply that knowledge, that's what we call skills. So the knowledge and skills will both come under the first category, that is job ability fit. Without this, you will not get the job. So basic tests are conducted. Sometimes they are written tests. Sometimes there are 2 levels of written tests. Sometimes you are asked to submit an assignment. And of course, during the interview, there is rigorous questioning to establish your basic job ability fit. So without the knowledge and skills, you cannot proceed. So this is a basic given. But is that all that the organization is looking for? The answer is no. Okay. So the organization, when they go through a selection process, is looking for much more than that. Now imagine you are joining an FMCG company in a sales role. As an individual, you are not very outgoing. You're not very friendly. You limit yourself to a few friends, few people in your family. You're a happy person. You're not comfortable speaking to strangers. Now, in terms of sales knowledge, sales technique, the textbooks, whatever the textbooks have taught you about sales, you know it all. So your job ability fit is 100%. But is your personality fit right? You don't like people really. You don't like talking to strangers. You don't go out of your way to make connections. So are you really the right fit for that sales job in this FMCG company? So how will the company find out whether you're the right fit or not? The company will look at whether your perhaps personality test results match the requirement. But if the company does not have the budget to run a personality test, then they will try to assess your personality during the interview and during the group discussion. And through this process, they will make some assessment of your personality. And out of 20 candidates, even if you are the top candidate in terms of ability, but when it comes to personality, you are maybe first from the bottom, chances are you won't get the job, because it requires the personality to support the ability in order to get results. Now, some organizations are also very particular about the third categorization, that is culture. So we talk about Indian culture, but within Indian culture, every company has a culture. For example, IBM. IBM works across the world, but IBM in the US, IBM in the UK, and IBM in India all have different internal cultures, right? So it's a mix of a local culture and the company culture. So now they will also look at the overall culture of the company. Today in India, we have companies with very, very different cultures. You have companies in which people will address their seniors with sir, and they'll be very formal. On the other hand, I have worked in tech companies where even the CEO wanted you to call him by his first name. There was no disrespect. It was very respectful, but that was the style and that was the culture and the level of familiarity. So cultures depend on companies, countries. How well do you fit into the culture of that company? Okay, so these are three angles we must examine when we look at our own employability. How employable are we? So let me ask you a question. Okay, and you can type your answer in the chat box, please. Yes, kindly type your answer in the chat box. It's a one-word answer. Yes, no answers yet?
You can give a try to your answer. Just start typing.
It's a single word answer. Okay, I'll give you a hint. It starts with an A. No, it starts with an A. Ishika has put effort, but it starts with an A. Give up? Okay, I'm not getting more answers. Okay, ability. Ability was a good try, but you look at the sentence carefully. Okay. Yes, Somya Sharma, very good. We can give Somya, Vaishali, yes, Lord Jalpa, very good, excellent. This is the right answer. It is attitude. So along with everything else, when we look at job ability, job personality, job culture, and then we put all that as a subset of one very, very important thing, which is attitude. Am I a solution finder or am I a problem stater? What am I? What is my attitude? Do I tend to complain, grumble, crib, create negative sentiments, or do I look at the task with energy and do I say, okay, this can be done? Are all tasks easy? No. But if I have an attitude of overcoming the challenge, overcoming whatever is the impediment with a positive attitude, then I am an absolute winner for my employer. So this is one of the most important things about being employable, having a good positive attitude. And the employer will search for this right through every stage of the selection process. The employer will be asking you technical questions, will be asking you domain questions, but even then they will be looking for whether you have a good attitude or not. Another very important thing is our learning. The illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Now, you are studying in a college. Your faculty members are putting a lot of effort into teaching you basic concepts. But over the years, there is lots that's going to change. And there is lots that we need to remember. We have to change in ourselves as we absorb the new learning. And we cannot afford to say, I have always done this like this, and so I will continue to do it like this. We have to quickly absorb the new ways of doing things, the new ways of learning. So do remember that this is one of the very, very important things that you have to indicate to your employer when you are sitting for selection processes, is your adaptability and your flexibility. So did we have online classes 4 months ago? No. But everybody has had to quickly learn the technology, absorb, and move on, right? So this becomes a very, very important skill. And when you are going through a selection process, you need to figure out ways in which you can highlight that you are flexible, highlight that you are adaptable, and highlight that you are a quick learner. Now, when you go through the process of getting selected by an employer, the first person you need to know is yourself. You need to understand, who am I? What am I capable of? What do I want to do? What is my dream job? Now, sometimes if you ask someone, what is your dream job? My dream job is to become a CEO. That's great. But what kind of work would you like to do? So there needs to be clarity. We all would like lots of money. We all would like a great designation, a big house, a fancy car. That's human tendency. But what is it that really drives you? So let's explore, before building your profile, what are some of the things you need to ask yourself? What are some of the questions you need to ask yourself? So I would suggest if you can just pick up a pen and paper and just write down. They could be single words or they could be just bullet points. Just take a moment to write down. Just write down single words or a sentence. Your 3 top strengths. Jot them down. Okay, I'm going to ask Vaishali Mishra. Vaishali Mishra, would you mind sharing yours with us? Could you please unmute and share yours with us?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, my top 3 strengths are time management, patience, and smart working.
Excellent. Okay, let me ask Snehal Srivastav. Snehal Srivastav, could you please unmute and tell us?
Ma'am, my top 3 strengths are confidence, time management, and smart work.
Okay, very good. Now you'll be surprised at how many people have never even sat and thought about their top strengths. Okay, and very often at an interview, a young person begins to talk about what they are not good at. Let me give you an example. There was a student I once taught. He was very physically, very fit, a smart boy, very capable, and he had even been a Republic Day NCC cadet. Okay, now it's very difficult to reach the Republic Day parade, those of you who know about the NCC. And when I started his interview, he started by saying, you know, ma'am, I'm not very good at English. And then I looked at his CV, and his CV had so many accomplishments. But how did he start the interview? By what he was not good at, right? So please don't focus on what is not good about you. All of us have things which are not good about us. Focus on what is good about you. So build on your strengths. This is the first thing you need to understand. Then think for a while, what do I want to really achieve? What is it that drives me? Now I asked you for your top 3 strengths. Take a moment to write down the next 3. 3 more strengths. Three more after the first 3. Yes. Let me ask Nishta Kashyap. Nishta, could you please share your next 3 strengths, the second 3? Just unmute, please.
Patience, hardworking, dedication.
Patience, hardworking, dedication. Very good. Okay. Now we look at areas of weakness, but rather than areas of weakness, I would like to call them areas of improvement. So we need also a reality check, right? Nobody is perfect. So what am I not perfect at? We need to spend a little time identifying this. Think about what is the influence you have on others. This brings in your people skills. How do you impact others? Are you able to motivate others? Are you able to bring out positivity in others? Are you able to energize others? Think about this. What is the impact you have? And then do you have some specific skills? Like some people may be very good at, say, Excel, better than the rest of the batch, better than the rest of the class, because something interests you. Okay? What are your very specific accomplishments? What is it you have achieved which is way ahead of the rest of the class? Think about all these things, spend time introspecting and understand who you really are before you begin that document called the resume or the CV. And then personal qualities. Are you a very loyal person? Are you somebody that your family, your employer could absolutely trust? Identify to yourself your strongest personal qualities. Okay, so now we have a little quiz. Please type your answer in the chat box. There's one item you need to add. Yes, that was absolutely easy. Okay, job, personality, fit. Okay, you all passed the test. Okay. So you've got these 3 areas. So when you think of yourself being employable, think about yourself in these 3 areas. Okay. Now, when we come to the selection process, so of course, one is preparation of your own CV or preparation of your own resume. So as I mentioned, introspect, spend time. Your resume is not about 10 standard exam and so year, so much percent, 12 standard exam, so and so year. That is technical data. There has to be more about you in that resume. There has to be you as a person. What is special about you? Okay. So after you have done that, a selection process happens, and every company will define its own methodology of selection. Some companies just feel that 2 rounds of interview is more than enough, we can assess. Some companies will have 5 steps. So they will have first basic logical ability test, perhaps, reasoning ability test. Some organizations will have an actual technical subject test. So whatever is the subject, they will have questions about that subject. Some organizations will have also a psychometric test, which is to assess your personality. So psychometric test basically categorizes you into various types of people that there are. These tests have been developed by psychologists over the years. There are different views about psychometric tests. Should they be done? Should they not be done? Are they good? Is it good to put people into compartments that this person is like this, that person is like this? Is it good or not? So there is a lot of debate on that. So some organizations like to use the personality test and some organizations don't. Some organizations use ready-made personality tests and some organizations spend a lot of money internally developing their own tests. So then after these stages, typically, you have sometimes the group discussion. Not every company will choose to have a group discussion. Group discussion is usually typically 10 or 12 people seated around a table and they're given a topic, they're given 1 or 2 minutes to think about the topic, and then they're given 10 or 12 minutes to discuss the topic. So, why do companies have GDs? Yes, Snehal Srivastav, can you answer that? Why do you think companies have GDs? Okay, let me ask Vaishali Mishra.
Ma'am, basically to know everyone's perspective, what everyone is thinking, and everyone should they must be having some of the other ideas, so it will come out as a best one.
Okay, so now suppose they have a topic like love marriage versus arranged marriage. Do you think this company is really interested in what you think about love marriage and arranged marriage? Yes, Shravani Singh, can you answer this question? Shravani Singh, do you think the company is really interested in your view on this topic?
Ma'am, maybe, but not sure.
They're going to hire you. So are they bothered about what you think on this topic? It's a purely personal topic.
So your voice is not coming.
Okay. Vishaka? Yes. Vishaka, can you answer?
Ma'am, just company want to know about our views and fresh ideas about anything. Means he just company wants to know what we say and what we think. Just our view of any topic.
No, so my question is on such a topic.
If we are negative on the topic or the positive.
Yes, so they are looking at many, many more things than just your view. They are looking at your communication skills. They are looking at how dominating you are in the group. Are you very dominating? Are you very aggressive? Do you give other people a chance? Do you listen? Very important point is, do you listen to other people's point of view? And Manali has given a very nice answer. They want to check, are you able to really cooperate? Very good. Okay, right. So it's not just the topic. It is not just the point of view. It is much more of your behavioral skills over and above that. Okay. So just one moment. Somebody raised a hand. Okay. So the point is they are looking at one, of course, your perspective. They're looking at what Vasiha said, interacting ability with other members. They are looking at leadership. Are you able to manage the views of so many other people and have a good discussion? Why the GD? This is very, very important to understand. Can you see these people at the workplace? How does work go on in the workplace? It is nothing but a giant GD, right? How we interact at the workplace, how we have meetings, how we discuss. For no one thing is there one solution at the workplace. For every problem, for running businesses, there are so many options. So if I have a particular point of view and I only want to limit myself to my point of view, then I will not listen to anyone else. I will not absorb the thoughts or contributions of anyone else. So the GD is nothing but an amplified workplace, right? So people behave in a particular way, and these behaviors are what are picked up by the prospective employer at the GD. How do you behave with others? If somebody has a point of view, do you just ignore it? Do you shut him up? Or do you listen? Do you absorb? Now, sometimes in a GD, students ask, if I am for the topic, then later on, should I, also look at the points against the topic? So a GD is not a debate. If you are given a topic which has a question mark at the end, or it has some form of controversy, you don't have to take a stand for or against. All you have to do is discuss objectively what are the pros and what are the cons, right? When somebody disagrees with your point of view, what you need to do is you need to accept that some of the points are valid. And that will indicate that when you are in this kind of a workplace, you will be listening to your fellow colleagues. You will be listening to other people's point of view. So this behavior is very, very critical. So Vishaka says creative and dynamic activities stimulates reflective thinking. And Pooja Yadav says ability to communicate. Very important parts of GD. So a few important things about the GD. Very often, one or two people in the GD remain absolutely silent. Why is that? One, they may not know anything about the topic, especially if it relates to, GDP and GST and things like that. They may not know much about it, right? But sometimes it is just fear. Or sometimes they try to get in, but everybody else is very dominating. They don't manage to get in. So one of the rules of a GD is somehow or the other, you have to speak. You have to somehow get your voice in. The other thing you must do at the GD is listen. Okay? For the same reason that I said, a GD is nothing but a giant workplace, is a replication of the workplace. So if you don't listen, it's obvious that you will not listen at the workplace either. When you're in a GD, physically and online, these are two different things. So let me spend a few moments on the online GD, since that's the scenario we are in today. It was very important earlier to look at everybody else in the GD and address everybody else when speaking. Sometimes because 2-3 people are talking a lot, the tendency is that those people look only at each other. So it was very important that you look at everybody. But today in the online GD, you have to look slightly differently. You have to look at your web camera. Okay, don't look at the face of the person who's speaking on the screen. Rather, you just keep looking at your web camera because that creates positive eye contact. Now, sometimes at a GD, there's a tendency to, be very involved for some time. Then you sort of feel I've said enough, I've made my point. And then you sort of detach. So you need to be continuously involved, continuously partaking in the discussion. So roughly, it's good to enter the GD at least 3 to 4 times during the GD. Okay? Don't talk too much. Give others a chance. Once you get a chance, don't talk continuously for 1.5 minutes or 2 minutes. Pause after about 30-40 seconds and give others a chance. Now, everybody wants a job. Everybody is very anxious at the time of the GD. So sometimes you begin to talk so much, talk so fast, and say so many things that we lose coherence. So we need to focus on being coherent. We need to be clear. Our speech needs to continuously be clear. And eye contact, as I mentioned, today in the online age, eye contact is only through the web camera. Some things that we must avoid. So suppose I get a bit physically tired, or somebody is talking absolute nonsense at the GD. So then I feel, chalo, enough. I'm not going to, say much. So I detach. Automatically my shoulders go down, my energy goes down. So that is something we need to avoid. Now you see this picture on the top right. She's saying, what are they talking? So this is very strong negative body language. So we have to watch our body language, even in online GDs, very carefully. We should not frown. If somebody says something stupid, we should not look at them like, kya bol raha hai? Right? So these expressions all carry and they get registered. So give others a chance. On the online GD, be very careful. You'll see a yellow mark around your screen when you see who is talking. So if you see that somebody is continuing to talk, then for those 2-3 moments, do stop. Let that person continue. Then you try again. Okay? Language, if the GD is in English, continue in English, so that it doesn't look like you are not able to articulate your thoughts. So speak in the language that is prescribed for the GD. And how does a GD continue? Through the process of interruption, right? So when a GD is going on, we need to interrupt. But this is the art of interruption in a GD. We have to interrupt very carefully. So one trick I will tell you to interrupt. Everybody is human, everybody needs to breathe, right? During the COVID pandemic, we have understood the importance of breathing more than ever before, right? So when that person who is speaking a lot pauses to breathe, that is when you have to just dive in with your sentence. Now, after that person breathes and tries to come back, you have finally got your chance, so you just continue for a bit and then you stop. So you need to play this artful game of interruption during the GD. So up to now, are there any questions that you would like to ask? You could ask them in the chat box if you have any questions. Okay. Yes, Shravani Singh, yes, you can ask your question, please.
Ma'am, my question is with reference to GD. Like, suppose you have given one topic and you didn't have an idea related to that topic. But in GD, as you say that it's an obligation that you have to speak. So how could one can continue his GD procedure? Either he is not having a knowledge for that.
Okay, so are you doing BA, BCom? What are you studying?
BCom second year.
BCom, okay. Now, when you are a BCom student, chances are the GD topic could be very business related, right? So now it's a very good habit to read newspapers and understand what is happening in commerce and business and all that. But it's not possible to know everything. So chances are you may not know much about the topic. Chances are also you may not know anything about the topic. So what your strategy has to be is to allow the GD to proceed for at least 3 minutes, 2 or 3 minutes. And then you pick up the points that others have raised. By then you may have got some ideas of your own, but these GDs are mostly factual. So you cannot create anything, right? You cannot create information. So what you need to do then is, the only other way out now for you is to take the point that somebody else has made, put it in your own words and project it, right? As the GD progresses in minute 5, minute 6, minute 7, a lot of people would have said other things. So your only option, if you don't know anything, is to take their points, rephrase them into your own words. Perhaps you know some terminology which is relevant for that, add that and say it. That's your only option. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Any other questions? Yeah? Okay, so GD topics can be a whole variety of topics, but I'll come to that just now. So let's look at body language. So again, the physical body language of a real life GD and the body language of an online GD are slightly different. So now, please put in the chat box when this guy sits like this at the GD. So if you are the recruiter, so what is your understanding of his body language? How will you read his body language? What will you think of his body language if he's sitting like that? Just give me single words for describing what you will assess this body language as. Okay, I'm getting some answers in the chat box. Not interested, irresponsible, disrespectful. Yeah. Overconfident, very good, excellent. Lazy, checking his confidence. Unprofessional, excellent answer, Shruti Singh. Okay. So absolutely an unprofessional way to sit and definitely indicates disrespect, overconfidence. Okay. What about this chap? This other picture, what does this picture tell you? The picture at the bottom of the screen. What do you read from that body language? Some single words to describe what you read as not interested, lazy, lack of confidence, yes. Okay, unofficial manner, lethargic, clumsy, lazy, certainly, okay, thank you, good answers, but certainly not GD posture, right? So mannerless, yes, even mannerless is quite appropriate. So when I say confident but not overconfident, I mean not like this guy. This posture definitely indicates overconfidence. Now, when you sit, you need to sit absolutely upright. So when you are in an online GD, what does upright mean? It has a different meaning entirely online. Always keep your laptop at eye level. The web camera and your eyes should ideally be at the same level so that you are not slouching over the computer and so your body posture is upright. Okay, legs don't have any significance in online, but in a real life GD, your legs need to be neatly placed at the base of your chair. You will not cross your legs at the knee. You may wish to cross your legs at the ankles. Eyes need to be constantly focused on whoever is speaking. Elbows. So in a real life GD, sometimes you occupy both the sides of the armrest. So one should be careful not to use your elbows too aggressively. And seat position. Never run and choose the best seat in the GD. If the seats are not allocated in advance, choose the seat that's comfortably closest to you. Don't try to grab the best seat. So the types of GDs. Factual GDs, which are based on data. When you are in a factual GD, always try to give your data points with the source. For example, you can say that last year, the Indian Statistical Institute stated that, and you will give your data. Okay. How do you collect this data? How do you know this data? By reading and recording in your notebook. So make it a habit to collect this sort of data, important figures, and write them down in your notebook and look at them from time to time. Then you will internalize them. Industrial production, how much was it last year, right? Very good point to state at a GD. Some GDs are controversial. These are quite often on a political topic, quite often on a social topic. So be very careful here. Don't push your point of view too strongly. Abstract GDs can be quite difficult. Topics can be purple, happiness, clouds, and you have to talk for 10 to 12 minutes on this topic. The last two types are quite similar. You're given a task or a situation. This company was not making profit, sales were dropping, and suggest a solution. So these are the various types of GDs you may face. Now the next step after this is usually the personal interview. In a company like Google, they have up to 6 rounds of personal interview. Many companies don't have the bandwidth to do that, so they will have 2 rounds. As you go more senior into companies, you may have more rounds. So I've given a link here if you want to take a picture of this. This is just one link that gives you some good inputs on interviews. Okay, so what is the interviewer trying to find out? Point 1, are you the right fit? Okay, so the first part of the fitment starts with knowledge and experience. If you don't have experience and you're applying for a job as a fresher, they're just trying to understand the knowledge you have. Are you able to apply it? So here's one important point. You have studied perhaps accountancy, but you may not be competent in using a software called Tally. So they know that you don't have the knowledge of that particular software. So companies know this and they're comfortable with it because they will teach you. When you join, they will teach you Tally. But do you have enough knowledge of accountancy to use Tally, right? So this is what they are going to try to understand. Nobody wants to stay in the same job for the first 5 years or the same level, right? So a company, when they hire you at the bottom level, they need to understand, do you have the potential to stay in their company and to grow? After 2 years, are you material that can be promoted? Do you have the potential to become a team leader? Do you have the potential to become a project manager? If they see that you're good for the present, but you're not good for the future, then they may not take you. Because they can't keep you in the same grade forever and ever. At some point, they need to promote you. So if you don't have that promotable potential, then the company may prefer someone else who seems promotable and who has potential. Learning, are you slightly fixed in your ways or are you an open-minded learner? And of course, attitude. So coming back to the main point, what are they looking for at the interview? Again, these 3 things: the ability, the personality, and the culture. Without the first, they will not look for the second and the third. But once they have found the first, then they will look for the second and the third. So when they are looking for the first, they are also very clear that there are some job skills which you need to have before you join. And you may not have, all the job skills, but some are trainable. They can train you, and companies have extensive training. When I was in an IT company that I worked with, engineer trainees who had studied computer science were still put through 90 days of full day training in the company. 90 days after engineering. So the company spends money and is ready to train. But if you don't have a personality, which is a learning oriented personality, then you will not fit the bill. So when you prepare for a selection process, never undermine the importance of your textbooks and your studies. These are the backbone of your preparation, the base of your preparation process. But also look at the applicability. You should not only be able to give definitions. You should be able to apply the particular skills that you have learned in each subject. And today, analytical skills are of great importance. So a lot of the selection processes also, the design of the test is also to test your analytical skills. What are analytical skills? understanding the problem statement in a particular situation and finding possible solutions to it. Okay, so analytical skills have become very, very important. Attire, formal, but never overdressed. Being too overdressed is also not good. Essentially, it is important to be well-groomed and to be neat. One very important tip I want to give you. You have a nice cotton shirt, white, very smart shirt, and you've got it ironed nicely, starched, it's looking very good. And you put on this shirt at 8:30 in the morning because the interviews start from about 9 or 9:30. And the weather is hot, so you cannot wear a jacket, so you wear your white cotton shirt. Your turn for the interview comes at around 12:30 in the afternoon. Now, what has happened to your lovely cotton shirt? It's all crushed and it's not looking as smart as it looked at 8:30 in the morning. So spend a little time choosing the fabric of your clothes very carefully for your interviews. Choose a fabric that will not crush, but at the same time, a fabric that will not make you sweat. So find the balance between this. Believe me, this is very, very important. The interviewer is also looking at your communication skills. They would have evaluated these at the time of the GD, and they will be observing you through the interview process. Are you able to articulate your thoughts well? Do you listen to the question carefully? And more important, do you understand the question? So during the interview, if you don't understand a question, you can certainly ask the interviewer, I'm sorry, I didn't get the question. May I request you to repeat it? You can ask the interviewer that. But you can ask once. Can you ask him 4 times, please repeat the question, please repeat the question? You can't do that. So you need to listen very, very carefully and understand the question very carefully. So we have a little time left. So let's look at a few questions. These sort of questions will come. There are some interviews at which the entire interview is mostly on the technical subject or the domain. And maybe just 2 questions at the end or the beginning, maybe personal questions. There are some interviews in which maybe they have already got a fix on your domain knowledge because of the test, and therefore they don't ask you too many domain questions at all. So then the entire interview is more on personal questions. So look at this first question. Tell us about an occasion in your life when you did not meet your objectives. Now at this point, you should not start thinking, oh gosh, when was it? What was it? These sort of situations in your life, you should have them all ready. Why are they asking you this question? For the simple reason they want to understand, how do you cope with disappointment? So you need to have an answer ready, which shows them that yes, you had a problem. It affected you for a short while, but you took certain steps and how you overcame this. Okay? Have you ever worked with an unreasonable deadline? Tell us about it. Were you ever running short of time? This question points to your ability to prioritize. How did you manage? Did you deliver the results in spite of the pressure? Were you able to handle the stress? So the question is not about the deadline. The question is about you. Were you able to manage, right? This is how they assess what a person is really about. Does the personality fit? And the last question we'll discuss, how would you feel if your best friend got selected and you didn't get selected? So what is this question about? So now let me ask a few of you to type in the chat box. What answer would you give to this question? Type in the chat box. What answer would you give to this last question? Both of you went for the interview. Your best friend got selected. You didn't get selected. Yes. I'll wait to see your answers in the chat box. And in the meanwhile, if any of you have any questions, we have a few minutes left, so I'll be happy to take your questions. You can raise your hand to ask a question. Yes, I will be happy for my best friend, but I will be sad. Very good. I need to work more on myself. Jalpa, you cannot say bahut zyada bura lagta hai. You have to give an interview style answer, okay? I would be happy for my best friend. A bit disappointed, but happy because she is my best friend. I can learn lots from her. Very good answer, Vaishali. I can learn. What did you do that I was not able to do? Very good answer. Okay. Yes. Okay, so now, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask your questions. Yes, Vaishali, yes, you have a question?
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, I want to ask that qualifications, experiences, and skills are judged respectively, or there should be balance between the three?
Can you repeat your first part of your question?
Ma'am, qualification, experiences, and skills are judged respectively, or there should be balance between the three?
Okay, so now as a youngster, you have qualifications and you should have some skills, but you don't have experience. Now later, after 10 years, the qualifications may remain the same. Your skills would have increased, your experience would have increased. So now the balance has on its own changed, right? So as a youngster, if you don't have experience, that's fine, right? The only two things you have to look at is your qualification and your skill application. Whatever you have learned, some things may not be applicable, you can't apply them. But whatever can be applied, are you able to apply it? Right? I would encourage all of you to, evaluate your computer skills. Today, there is no room for anybody who is not tech savvy. There are people who put on the CV, good at MS Office, Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. That should not be on your CV. Everybody has to be good at Excel, PowerPoint, and Word. It's a given, right? So do raise your skills in the computer area, okay?
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome, welcome. Okay. Yes. Iksha Singh, what's your question, please?
Jai ma'am. Ma'am, I wanted to ask that what are the important employability skills that a fresh graduate should have?
Okay. So I will just list 4 or 5. So 1, communication skills. When I say communication skills, it does not necessarily mean speaking fantastic English or fantastic Hindi. It is the ability to speak in a fluent way, where you are not jerky or saying, filling your speech with that kind of thing. Second, finding the right terms and the words to express yourself. That's 1. So communication skills. Second, attitude. Somebody who shows energy, somebody who shows desire to learn, to grow, to contribute. If I was a recruiter, that's what I would look for. Somebody who has an open mind to learning. So during the interview, questions will be asked about learning. So, is this person ready to learn? Adaptability and flexibility, very, very important. You don't want to be stuck with somebody who says, this is what I learned and this is what I'm going to do, right? Somebody who's willing to move. Today, I'm moving you from this office to that office. No problem, sir, I'll go. Right? You tell me what the problem is, I'll do it. So a problem solver. Okay? I just have a question to our administrator of this call. So Nitin, is it okay? Yeah, Nitin, is it okay if we continue for a few more minutes, or would you like to stop?
Yes, ma'am, we can continue.
So I'll take questions for about 5 minutes more. Yeah, so go ahead. Anyone else? Yeah, please ask your questions.
You can raise your hand for your questions. Anyone else?
Anyone else? Okay, so I think we're okay then. Yeah, so all the best to all of you. Good luck, and do apply some of these little techniques that we've talked about today. Yes, and I encourage you to keep building your reading, because reading widens your mind, increases your intellect all the time. And keep reading newspapers so that you are good at GDs, because you get a lot of current topics in GDs. And of course, build on your domain and your community. So all the best to all of you.
Ma'am, just a second.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Ma'am, Nitin sir, just a second. So on
Yes,
behalf of Sunbeam Women's College, Varuna, we extend our heartiest thanks to you, ma'am, for your august presence. It was really great to have you amidst us. It was a really great session, a very intellectual session. It was great to listen about all those skills which we exactly, I mean, it's like something we follow every day, but we don't realize that it's so important while we have a GD or while we have an interview. And especially I like the part where you said that how much an attire is important for an interview, because usually when we have sessions, we usually skip it. No one says that your attire needs to be more crisp and it does not need to be sweaty. That was really great to have it. Thank you. Thanks a lot from Sunbeam Women's College, Varuna.
My pleasure. Very nice talking to all of you.
So,
And thank you, respected ma'am, and everyone, and every students. Hope you all have got these particularly informative and such an good session might be, and novel session for you all. Hope you all will be doing a very good future. And the Sunbeam
Nathan, your voice is breaking.
giving us giving us just an opportunity for. Yes, sir. So I think there might be some network issue. So I'm just concluding the session, and thank you so much to everyone. Jean, Jay, Sultana ma'am also, thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Thank you so
My
much.
pleasure.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Apart from this, ma'am, I would also like to tell all the students and the respected faculty member of Sunbeam. Ma'am, we have an office in Varanasi. The address is displayed in the slide. We are regularly conducting GD sessions and the mock tests for the students in this office, ma'am. And apart from that, our given here, we will be conducting a national level mock test, which will be having a very lucrative prizes. So I'll pass on the links to the students and to the college, so that the students can participate and they can definitely get the experience. Thank you, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, ma'am.
Niranja, I'm also sharing you the link of the feedback to you. So kindly